Hi, here we will discuss the declaration of two-dimensional array in Java programming language and initializing the values to that two-dimensional array. So, two-dimensional array is a collection of elements with a similar data type of one-dimensional arrays. Here we are initializing a two-dimensional array with integer data type int, then square brackets here for, one is for the number of rows and one is for the number of columns. Since we are having the matrix in two dimensional, we will have number of rows here 0 1 2, number of columns 0 1 2, like this. So here we have to initialize the number of rows and number of columns for each and every two dimensional array. Here new operator is used to allocate the memory locations for this 2 cross 4 matrix. And here we can declare in this manner also integer a square brackets, and this one is a valid one, and the first dimension is representing the number of rows or number of one dimensional arrays, and the second dimension is representing number of columns or number of elements in each one dimensional array. That means here you see, here we are creating two rows. So two rows in the sense two one dimensional array like this. Okay, two one dimensional array like this. This is one dimensional array, this is another one dimensional array, zeroth one dimensional array, first one dimensional array, then number of columns, number of elements in the each one dimensional array. So this is first one dimensional array, here we are having elements, and then we are going to have second one dimensional array, there we are having four fixed memory locations. So like this we can represent this. And there is one of the term jagged array. Jagged array in the sense column representation is optional in two dimensional array. You see, in this first example we have assigned the four columns in the two dimensional array, but in the jagged array when you are creating the array here we can leave that number of columns as blank. Okay, that is optional, we need not to mention the number of columns, but we have to represent, we have to create the number of rows, it is must. Okay, the creation of number of columns is optional. The curly braces here may also be used to initialization array with the two dimensional type. Okay, so here you see the integer data type array is created with the two dimensions, number of rows and number of columns. Here I am creating three one dimensional arrays. First one dimensional array is here 1 2 3, then second dimensional one dimensional array is having 4 5 6, then third one dimensional array is having 7 8 9. So here we have created three one dimensional array, right? Then the three one dimensional array is joined together to create the two dimensional array. So here zeroth one dimensional array, first one dimensional array, second one dimensional array, zeroth column, first column, second column. So at the outset we got 3 by 3 matrix. Okay, so 3 by 3 two dimensional array. So that's what here we can assign the elements into the two dimensional array by using curly braces. Okay, so this is equivalent to y equal to new integer. Here 3 is the number of rows, here the number of columns is optional. The structure is given here, you look at that, the index, first index is indicating the number of rows, and here these indices are representing the number of columns in the given two dimensional array. So here the column is represented as a second index in the declaration, first index is representing the number of rows in the declaration of array in Java programming language. Here arrays can be initialized with row dimension and without initializing the columns, but not vice versa. Okay, that means we have to represent the number of rows only in the first index. We cannot use the second index. And also the number of columns is optional, as I told in the previous slide. You see, suppose when you are not giving the number of rows, but you are declaring the size of the number of columns, this will give you the error, because the number of rows should be mentioned, the number of columns only optional. The length of the columns can vary for each row and initialize the number of columns in each row. You see, when you are using the column size is optional. Okay, so here we are going to use this method. Here number of rows are created and the number of columns is optional. So if it is the case, what will be happen? You see, we are declaring the array size with 3 number of rows, but optional, we don't know the number of columns. Here the variable is integer data type with the name numbers. Here I am going to assign 3 one-dimensional arrays. So 3 one-dimensional array here we are creating with the default value initially. Then here you see, this is the thing we are going to creating 3 one-dimensional arrays. Then here for first one-dimensional array we are going to assign 6 9 3 7. So that's what, 6 9 3 7. So here the size of the columns is 4. And then second one-dimensional array we are assigning only two values, 5 comma 2. So here you see, we are assigning only the 5 and 2. So the size of the second one-dimensional array is here only 2 elements. And we are going to create third one-dimensional array, that is this one, third one. Here we are assigning the values 8 comma 4 comma 1. So row 3, here we are having only 8 4 1. So 3 elements are there. You see, for first row which is having 4 elements, second row which is having 2 elements, third row which is having 3 elements. So that's what, here when you are initializing the number of columns, okay, with optional, so there is possibility of varying the length of columns, okay, length of the columns. So this is possible in Java programming language. This is called jagged array, right? So here one example is given with the two-dimensional array, public static void main, command line arguments are passing in the string data type. Here I am creating the integer data type two-dimensional array here with the name small x. New operator allocating the memory locations for this newly declaring array with the size, number of columns, number of rows are 3, number of columns is optional. Whatever number of columns we want to create, we can create. Here the first row with fixed number of columns is given here 3, right? The number of rows, first row we are second I mean 0th row, first row which is having 2 elements. Then here second row which is having fifth 5 elements, okay, in the columns, right? So then we are going to use for loop. Here we are taking x dot length. X dot length is here which is taking based upon the number of rows and number of columns, number of elements, right? Then here we are going to create that it is 2 by 2 matrix. That's what 2 for loops. This is for number of rows, this is for number of columns, okay, number of columns, right? So here we are going to use initially we are assigning the value I value to 0 comma 0, right? Then we are printing that value, then second iteration I will become 1, right? Here j will become 1. So for the 1 comma 1 we are assigning the value I value equal to 1, right? So for example I equal to 0, here j value will be starting with 0. So what is the length here? Length is here 3, right? Here the length of the column is 3, right? So now it will take j equal to 0 at the position here x of, right, x of 0 comma 0, right? X of 0 comma 0 equal to I. What is I value here? 0 is assigned. That's what printed here. Then j is incremented equal to 1, okay. Inner for loop is incremented by 1. So then j equal to 1, still I equal to 0, right? So here x of, right, x of 0 comma 1, which is also now here I value, still I value is 0, again printing 0, that's what second 0. Then again j is incremented, so when your j is incremented again, j will become 2. Okay, then again x of I is 0, so 0 2, again what is the I value here, 0, right? So that's what third 0. Now here again it is j is incremented, now j becomes 3. Okay, 3 here, but x of I dot length for the j is 3. Okay, so here less than 3, look at here, here we are giving less than 3 in this position, less than 3. So less than 3 means this will not execute, so now for loop will come out, right? Then again it will go back to the ith index for loop, so now I will be incremented by 1. Okay, so I is already 0, now I will become 1. Now again j is starting from 0. Okay, so when your j is starting from 0, so here j is starting from 0, j equal to 0, at this position x of, right, I equal to 1, so 1 j equal to 0, so x of 1 comma 0, that means first row. Okay, zeroth row is over, now first row, in the first row zeroth element will be right I value, what is I value here, 1, so 1 is printed here. Okay, then again it is j is incremented, so when j is incremented j will become 1. Okay, when j will become 1, now x of I value is 1 and j value is 1. So now again what is the I value which is printing here, I value is 1, so 1 is printed in the second thing. Again j value is incremented, j becomes 2, so here j becomes 2, but the j value is here, the j value is here only 2 elements, but now this becomes 2 elements means 0th element, first element. Here we are going to third element, that is index number 2, but here we are using less than. Okay, so less than length means 2, right? So here 2 less than 2 is false. Once it is false, it will come out of the inner for loop, then the ith index for loop will go, so now I is incremented as a 2. So once I is incremented to, again j is initialized with 0, so one again j is 0. Now x of, okay, x of this position, x of, right, x of I value is here 2, then j value is 0, so 2 of 0, that means second row 0th element. So what is the length of the x of I dot length, x of I dot length means x of second row dot length, x of second row dot length is here, you look at here 5. Okay, so until 5 number of iterations it will, the inner for loop will execute, that's what here we are printing, right, 5 twos. Okay, so like this it will execute one by one. So here finally we are stopping the execution whenever x is crossing that number of rows into less than 3. Okay, so here it is having 0th row, first row, second row. When it is crossing 3 less than 3, then the condition will be failed, so automatically program execution will be stopped. Thanks for watching.